Happy Friday, Tiger Cubs, and welcome back to another episode of Tiger Cub News. As always, I am your host, Johnny. As some of you may know, the SPS library has opened back up for takeout. Now there's a book fair coming up. Here's Maya Amora with that.
From Monday, March 1st to Friday, March 12th, the SPMS library is holding a Follett book fair. It's much like the Scholastic ones from elementary school that we know, except it's a different company. Follett isn't very well known, but it's managing K-12 schools' catalogs and books from across the country, including our own library catalog. Due to COVID protocols, the fair will be completely online this year, but there will be a ton of titles to choose from, mostly labeled young adult, as to suit your level. Shop for whatever you want, with your parents' permission of course, and buy to your heart's content, so there aren't any grade limitations or restrictions. Look for the ASB Bulletin for more info coming soon. Thanks, Tiger Cubs, and have fun reading!
In honor of Lunar New Year, our residence cooks had tried something new and made some spring rolls. We'll take a look at that, and then Rocket's going to show us a new trail in his hiking series.
Hi, I'm Charlie, and today we're making spring rolls. For the filling, you're going to need these ingredients. This is how you make it. Heat your oil to 350 degrees and then drop your spring rolls in. The final product should look like this.
Hi guys, have you ever heard about Peanut Lake? I'm sitting here across from Herman Park in Highland Park. Let's go find this lake. Less than 3 miles south of South Pass, you'll find the entrance just southeast of Avenue 57 off the 110 freeway. Once you enter this gate, you go up this long, steep trail. There's a few turns and switchbacks on the steep trail, but you already get a good view of Highland Park. We found a turtle.
In big science news, the Mars rover Perseverance and its helicopter touched down on the red planet. The rover has since been beaming back the same amazing photos and videos. Aiden and Jack checked it out. Let's watch.
On Thursday, February 18th, 2021, history was made when NASA landed their newest and best rover on Mars. This rover, named the Perseverance rover, started its journey over 11 years ago when it first started being built. In July of 2020, the rover was launched from Earth and started its 292.5 million mile journey to our neighboring red planet. After more than 6 months, the rover finally made a successful landing on February 18th at around 12:55 p.m. Pacific time. It landed on Mars with 2.2 million people watching NASA's livestream on YouTube. The new rover is going to make huge advancements on getting information from Mars, such as launching the first ever drone, taking the first ever sound samples, and taking samples from the ground and sending them back to Earth by 2030. The spot where the rover landed was the Hizero crater, an ancient lake dating back to 3.9 billion years ago. NASA believes that there could be signs of life on Mars at the crater. The landing site would be the hardest ever. The crater was an incredibly small landing site covered by harsh terrain that would damage the rover if landed on.
In their continuing series, the review crew watched Shrek 3. After their video, we've got politics and world news, offbeat news, and look at the MLB season.
Hello, this is Ben, and welcome back to Tiger Cub Reviews. So, I know there are 4 Shrek movies, but the last 2 are very contrived and do not really progress the story. In fact, what is it with DreamWorks making multiple sequels, and then a sequel film in the franchise, they give the main couple like 2 to 3 children to raise? Let me list some characters that actually have a bunch of kids. Donkey, Shrek, Blue, Po, Toothless, and Puss in Boots. Anyway, this is the last Shrek movie that we will acknowledge because it devolves into DreamWorks tropes as it goes. So I won't spoil too much, but the second film ends with Shrek and Fiona ruling over Fiona's parents' kingdom because Fiona's dad got turned into a frog. In Shrek 3, the King Frog dies and leaves Shrek as king. Shrek has to deal with his responsibilities and he's terrible at it. The villain of the second one, Prince Charming, comes back to try and ruin Shrek's life, and Shrek also has a baby with Fiona. He also has 2 more in the fourth one, but I don't even want to talk about it. This movie really felt like a cash grab and was just another DreamWorks sequel without any heart or soul. The fourth movie does this again, but even worse. This is the conclusion to the first 3 Shreks, and thank you for watching as always.
Welcome back to this week's edition of Political Corner. I'm Sophia Feldman, bringing you highlights of politics for the week. On Saturday, February 13th, Trump was acquitted from the impeachment trial, meaning found not guilty for the insurrection. 7 Republicans stood with the Democrats with a vote of 57 to 43, but you need 2/3 majority to convict a president. As more things are opening up about the former president, the Senate has stated that Trump must release his tax returns to a grand jury on Monday. On other news, Senator Ted Cruz was found leaving Texas and going to Cancun, Mexico, as half of his state didn't have power and was under feet of snow. In a statement to the press, he claimed, "With school canceled for the week, our girl is asked to take a trip with friends. Wanting to be a good dad, I flew down there with them last night and flying back this afternoon." While in another statement to the press, he claimed this: "I'd initially planned to stay through the weekend and to work remotely there, but as I was heading down there, I started to have second thoughts almost immediately because the crisis here in Texas. You need to be here on the ground." In Belarus, people are protesting the government. Roughly 30,000 people have been detained over the past few months for voicing their opinion about their president, Alexander Lukashenko. The protest has been going on since their August election that they believed was rigged. Alexander Lukashenko has been elected for his 6th term. This means he has now been in office for 26 years, while people believe his opponent, Sveta Tikhonovskaya, won the majority. Thank you for tuning into this week's Political Corner.
Hello everyone, welcome to this week's News Minute. In Texas, 2.7 million people have lost power after a winter storm that took the state by surprise. Many people blame the wind turbines as the source of the power outages, but the main cause is said to be a shortage of fuels for the power plants. It can get very dangerous in single-degree weather with no power. The storm has already been tied to nearly 80 deaths. In Myanmar, people are taking to the streets about the military coup. Hundreds of thousands of people are protesting. People are also using artistry such as poetry, graffiti, and painting to protest the military seize of power. 2 people were killed by police in a protest that turned violent, with 20 more injured. Although the number of COVID cases is decreasing, the US recently hit the 500,000 death mark, nearly 2.5 million deaths worldwide. That's all for this week. Stay safe, everyone.
Strike three. Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye, Tigers.